Hey guys, welcome back to Dislyte. In today's video, we're going to be going through my top 5 best 4-star units in the game. Now, as always, take it with a grain of salt. This is personal opinion. Not saying everything else is bad. Just wanted to narrow it down to the top 5. So if you see these units, you can really dig into them and see if you want to invest in them. But I will do some honorable mentions. There are some units that I really like the look of as well, but I haven't had enough testing with them, and I will elaborate on them in future videos if I do manage to pull them. But first off, this is going to be in no particular order either. I think we'll just go through the order that they appear in the roster to keep it simple. But the first one is going to be Asuna. Now, the people on the soft launch server got her for free. Along the way, there was a chance for them, which is massive grats to anyone who has this unit. But if you do pull her, big grats. She's a really good gauge booster with a healer, just a fantastic support in general with the defense in the Ritual and Sonic. Now, most people are going to be running the HP leader skill when you do have Gabrielle, but still, it's not a bad leader skill to have. Moving on past that, we have increases team-wide AP by 25% and grants Lotus Mark. Each triggered Lotus Mark increases AP by 20%. Now, this is on 4-turn cooldown. I love turn gauge boosting. I'm a big fan of it. Everyone knows that I love Dahlia, but like this one, you're getting a 25% boost, but you're also getting this mark on allies that reduces their damage taken by 50%. Now it only applies to one attack. Once they are hit, it disappears. But on top of that, when it disappears, there is the AP gain side of it as well. So it is a really, really strong ability. Then to top that off, for a great support unit, we do have ability 2, which heals all allied Espers equal to 10% of their max HP, plus 80% of her attack, and grants recovery for 1 turn. Really nice healing. The only thing that would make this skill better if it healed based on her max HP or something, because as a support unit, she's not there for damage, but now she's kind of like Changpu, where you got to consider attack into your build because you know you want to heal for as much as possible. But really nice. That's on a 3-turn cooldown as well, with the recovery on top of the turn gauge boost with the damage mitigation, makes for a fantastic support. And then finally we have this one. It deals damage to an enemy equal to 120% of attack and a 60% chance of dispelling a buff from the target. Dispels are really handy in certain situations. In any situation where you need a dispel, it's like the greatest thing ever to get the feeling of dispelling that buff. So a really, really amazing support kit on this unit. One of the best supports in the game, in my opinion, and a fantastic 4-star. She is a shimmer, so if you pull her, you are getting lucky. Moving on past that, we are going to go into who's the next one that I want to cover on the list is going to be Sander. Now, Sander is one that he was the first 4-star I pulled on the soft launch account that I played way back when, 8 months ago. I maxed this guy out. He is an absolute beast. Basically, he just doesn't let the boss do anything. He has a speed. So his leader skill, first of all, speed in miracles by 25%. Incredibly nice. Especially when we start getting into speed teams and stuff like that, speed is going to be really handy. Obviously, really nice. Then he just doesn't let the boss move. So attacks a target 3 times, each hit dealing damage equal to 60% of attack, plus 0.33% of attack per point of speed. So basically I probably read that, butchered it, but he deals additional damage based on his speed, so you want him really quick, and it's just fantastic synergy for him, because you want him really quick anyway, because you want him cycling through his turns so that he can keep reducing the gauge of the boss. So it's just fantastic. Has a 50% chance to reduce the target's AP by 30%, and the final attack stuns the target for 1 turn. Now, this final attack stunning doesn't apply to bosses, good for waves, also really strong for things like PvP and stuff like that. If you know he's one of the first units you build, you can still use him viably in some PvP action. But this does go down to a 3-turn cooldown. I'll talk about his cooldowns in a second. Next up, we have this ability. Deals damage to an enemy equal to 180% plus speed scaling, let's just call it that, and 100% chance of inflicting speed down for 2 turns. Speed down, once again, when we're looking at speed clears on bosses, what you want to do is deny the boss having a turn. Speed down, along with his turn gauge manipulation, just does that. And if a critical hit is triggered, he gains speed up for 2 turns, which is amazing because that, once again, lets him cycle around and keep denying the boss turns. Then we have this basic ability, also same thing, attack plus speed scaling, and a 75% chance to reduce reduce the AP by 30%. So he's just a denial beast. Now, the thing that I like, I mentioned about his cooldowns is we've got 3 turn and 3 turn. This is at max cooldowns. You can still make him work without max skills, but at max skills, it is really nice because we have 3 turns and 3 turns. So his general cycle that he will go through is he will use this ability, then he will use this ability, then he will use this ability, and then he will cycle right through. Some characters that have, like 3 turn cooldown, 2 turn cooldown, it's really good for manual play, but when you're doing auto, it's like sometimes they get confused. They'll use this one, this one, this one, and then they'll use this one, this one, this one. Like they have the same cycle. So the 3 turn on both abilities isn't a bad thing compared to units that have like 3 turns and 2 turns, because at some stage when you got a 3 turn and 2 turn, when they're on auto, they will use the 3 turn, then they'll use the 2 turn, and then they'll use the single, but then they have both of the other ones available, and they just cycle through the same way anyway. So I just think Sanders an absolute beast. Like I said, used him on my soft launch account. The cool thing is, you think with the multi-hit on this ability, he'd be bad in APEP. He still dominated APEP for my speedrun teams there. And I had no issues using him in APEP 10. So he's a beast in the first 2 dungeons, definitely. Absolutely love him. Anyway, moving on from Sander. Who's next? Did I miss one? I don't know. We're going to jump into Chloe. So Chloe, for me, I've actually... Wait, I can actually show you guys. Wait. If you can see on the camera. Focus. I think you can see it. I pulled her on my main account, so that account's on the phone, just farming, leveling her up. I've got her 6-star. She was my next 6-star, so I'm farming her up, and we will get a Chloe spotlight out hopefully in the next few days. But Chloe is an absolute damage dealing beast, boss killing maniac. So when we have these launches, especially like let's just talk about her skills and then I'll talk about it. I get excited with Chloe. I love her design. When the game first came out in soft launch, she was my favorite design character. I just love this aesthetic that she has. And then Dahlia matches her for me, but she's absolutely amazing. Let's check out her skills. Launches 5 strikes on random enemies, each dealing damage equal to 90% of attack and stealing 2 buffs from the target. Each buff on her increases damage dealt by 10%. This is sick. So this ability in itself, when we look at something like the Sonic Miracle. Now, Sonic Miracle isn't something that I weight very highly in a character's, kit. Like it doesn't really matter too much. But when you look at bosses that don't have towers, and we look at something like this where you're launching 5 attacks at random enemies, dealing 90%, that's a 450% multiplier, and then 10% more damage on top with each buff. And most people, like for me, I'm running Dahlia, which has crit and attack buff, which attack buff obviously increasing damage anyway, but then you're normally also running something like Gabrielle, who has defense and immunity. So there's instant 4 buffs that you can throw on and do this. I think she's going to be more amazing on manual play PvP because you can really gauge those buffs that you want to put on. But I mean, this ability can just absolutely shred. It is on a 4-turn cooldown, which is, kind of high for a damage dealing ability. But when it's dealing that much damage and stealing buffs, that's the other thing. If the enemies have buffs, you will steal them, also increasing the damage dealt by the next strikes. It's a huge ability. I absolutely love this skill. Next one we have launches 4 strikes at random enemies. Once again, doing that random enemy thing. Each strike dealing damage equal to 75% of attack and extends all buffs carried by 1 turn. This is nice. We will talk about this a bit in the future. I think, honestly, I think her with Fabrice is going to be a pretty insane combo. We'll have to see. I could be wrong, but I'm really looking forward to. I just can't wait for them to announce guild battles and see the format of it. Once we see the format of guild battles, you will see me either probably get really excited about it because normally it's a shorter format, less characters. So I'm hoping for that because I think her and Fabrice could be really nuts. If the target isn't buffed, then inflict buff blocker for 2 turns. Not too bad. Okay, moving on from that. Attacks a target 2 times, each hit dealing damage equal to 70% of attack and a 50% chance to steal 1 buff. So really, really nice. So these 2 skills, even though they are random, she's absolutely godly for bosses. Deals huge amounts of damage. With that stealing is also nice. So like I said, I'm building her at the moment. I've made her my 3rd 6-star on my main account. The first 2 were Li Ling and Lin Zhao. and now I am doing Chloe. I believe her name used to be Coco in either the first beta or the soft launch, but it is going to be Chloe. I am building her right now. Really excited. She does have the accuracy leader skill as well. Certain situations, maybe that comes in handy if you doing speed runs and the one stat you didn't prioritize was accuracy, maybe something like that. I don't know. Wait and see. But yeah, this skill and this skill, it just gets me excited. Anyway. Moving on past that, I don't know how many we've done, but we're going to go into Lin Xiao. Now, if you've seen my main account, and for those wondering why you don't see much of my main account at the moment, I've got a bug with every emulator I've tried, even on this emulator that I'm using at the moment, which is Nox, on this instance of it, if I log over to that other account, anytime I try and enter a battle on any emulator on my main account, it just gives me endless loading screen. If anyone has a fix for that, please let me know. But I literally can't make content on my main account that requires me to go into battle because it doesn't work. So that's why my thing is farming on my phone at the moment. So if anyone has a fix, if anyone's seen that error, let me know, because I can't do anything. So I'll get a capture card if I have to and use my phone. But yeah, main account is on hold because some stupid bug with the specific account on all emulators. I don't know. It's doing my head in. Anyway, that was a bit sidetracked, but Lin Xiao, absolute beast. So this ability, I can't believe that this ability is on a 3-turn cooldown, to be honest. Grants 3 stacks of Tiger's Roar. Tiger's Roar gives her a 100% crit chance. This is huge. Deals damage to all enemies equal to 100% of attack with an 80% chance of inflicting speed down and defense down for 2 turns. So to me, on a character, if you had an ability that was buffs you to 100% crit rate, that's a nice ability. If you had an ability that was an AoE defense break, not bad. AoE speed slow, not bad. Put all 3 in one, godly. I love this ability. It's absolutely amazing. Then we have this one. Deals damage to an enemy equal to 230% of attack, adding 2 bleed debuffs that last 2 turns. If this hit is a crit, then it inflicts another 2 bleed debuffs that last 2 turns. And it is going to crit because we start off with this ability and we've got 100% crit rate. So she does that really, really nice. And this does massive, massive damage, really big damage. Then we have her basic skill. Deals damage equal to 140% of attack to an enemy with an 80% chance of inflicting disease for 2 turns. When a critical hit is triggered, it reduces AP by 30%. Once again, it's going to crit because we've got the crit buff. And because of this being on a 3-turn cooldown, you can maintain this crit buff 100% of the time, which is really nice. So yeah, we got disease with AP down. We've got massive damage with some bleed. And we got this absolutely godly ability. I use her everywhere. She doesn't have a leader skill. She doesn't need one. She is an absolutely amazing damaging unit. Amazing for Chronos. Amazing for APEP. Amazing for basically everything in the game except for Fafnir. She's just top tier. Absolutely amazing. Love this chick. If you get her, grats. I rerolled for her. I was pretty pumped. Moving on from that, the final unit that I'm going to go into, and then I'm going to give some honorable mentions, but I'm going to look at Long Mian. I don't know how to say his name. I don't do Google Translate stuffs and listen to the computer tell me. I just make it up on the fly and, let people complain to me in the comments. That's what I do. Anyway, Albing. Let's go Albing. So this guy, main 2 reasons is speed lead and great control. So this is one of those guys where I don't feel like if you pull him, you don't need to 6-star him. I feel like he works really well at 5-star. Although once you get into min-maxing maybe your PvP team or something like that, then 6-star could be nice for that extra damage. But he has the speed leader skill, which is generic across the board. You can use this speed leader skill anywhere, which is really nice. Obviously for PvP, it's great. Then we jump into his skill 3. Deals damage to all enemies equal to 110% of attack and 100% chance of inflicting speed down for 2 turns and freeze for 1 turn. That 100% activation rate is huge. Speed down, so this is his other use. So obviously PvP is great, so you can run him as your speed leader. If you want to run a speed cleave team, which I'm all about, you run him as your speed leader, run something that can boost your turn gauge, something like a Dahlia, then something that can strip buffs. We all get Lucas, then something that can defense break, whoever you want, then he can freeze, and then you can use a nuker at the end. he's synergistic. This AoE phrase is really nice for PvP, but also for tower progression, for cube and all that stuff. Really nice because not only are you freezing them, you're also giving them the speed down for 2 turns, which is really valuable in gaining advantage over your enemies. Then we have this one. Deals damage equal to 80% of attack to all enemies with an 80% chance of reducing their AP by 30%. If the target is affected by speed down, then this will reduce an additional 30% AP. This is once again huge for tower, cube, all those things, because your previous turn, you freeze them, you've locked them out from doing anything for that turn. They've still got the speed debuff on them. So then you're going to follow it up with this ability, which is going to reduce their AP by 60% if they have that speed buff. Now, obviously, resistance, sometimes things resist, but in the synergy of it, it is a fantastic ability, provided you bring other units that can fill in the gaps and lock out the certain enemies that may resist and stuff like that. Then we have this ability, attacks an enemy twice, each dealing damage equal to 60%, and an 80% chance of inflicting speed down for 2 turns. Not too bad to fill in the gaps if you need to really slow down something specific in those runs. But this guy, just an absolute beast in general. I really love his kit. Great for PvP, great for tower, cube, all that sort of stuff. And just an all-around great unit. But like I said, the cool thing about him too is, like, take him to 5-star, put him on a supportive accuracy, speed, HP, defense type kit, and he can work really well. So that is Albing. So I think that was 5 units. What did we go through? We went through Asuna, Sander, Chloe, Lin Jiao, and Longmane. So now I want to go into the special mentions. The twins, by themselves, no good. Together, amazing because they enhance their abilities. So these two, if you have both of them, great for the cube, tower, all that sort of stuff. Really synergize well together. The other ones that I want to mention is, first off, Bonnie. Now, I need to do more testing. Her kit on paper reads really nice. This ability sounds amazing for PvP. I did pull her on my main account, so eventually I will build her up and test her in PvP. The one reason I haven't built her up yet is because I do also have a Raven on that account who is the 5-star shimmer stripper. So, you know, she's already got my dispelling covered. But I definitely want to test, I really want to test Bonnie as well. I think this ability is huge. You're dealing damage to all enemies and increasing their cooldowns by 1, but also stripping 1 buff from them and granting team-wide AP boost based on the strips. But the problem for me is that it only strips 1 buff. If it stripped 2, I'd be all about this for PvP. So I want to do a little bit more testing. See, because I'm not sure exactly how this prioritizes buffs. You know, if in PvP you come up against a team and they've got someone with the shield set, so they've got a shield buff and then they've also got immunity buff. I want to see if it like prioritizes the immunity buff or prioritizes the shield buff or has no priority at all. I really want to see how that operates before I make a define consensus on her. But like, if she guarantees to remove the immunity first and then she's increasing their cooldowns and granting AP boost, I really like this chick. I'm so glad I pulled her so I can test her. Then the other one that I want to mention is the other shimmer, which is I'm going to stick with Pandora. I know I'd chop between names, but Pandora is so much easier to say than her name. I can't even read that. Don't even make me try. But one, design is sick. But I really want to test this out more if I do pull a copy. I don't have her on any of my accounts. I know in general, people don't rate her too highly. I feel like in manual PvP modes, I feel like she could be really good. Just this Pandora's box thing, along with the speed up for your team, but also granting the extra turn, which effectively makes this a 3-turn cooldown because you're always using something else. And then, like, you know, you follow this up and you can lock out the target that you want to lock out. I just think she looks really nice, but I'm not too sure, so I didn't want to put her on the list. But both of those, I wanted to shout those out because they are both shimmer units, and I know if people pull them, they'll get a bit excited. I did pull Hercules or Taylor on my other account. I don't think he's going to be the greatest. But I'll test him out. He's got this thing, but you know, I just wanted to cover the shimmers because if you pull a shimmer 4-star, you kind of get excited. So I want to touch on those two. Taylor, I don't think is great, but maybe if I get a godly relic set, I can test that and see how he goes. But that pretty much covers the 4-star guys. Like I said, there's a lot of other good 4-stars. Then I'm not saying any are horrible. They're all pretty decent in their own right. I don't think there's any that I would like throw away. Luo Yan, he's good. Big Mimir. I was trying to read his first name. I mean, his like proper name, and I just suck at it. But the old Pritz, get around the Pritz. He ain't bad. But yeah, like honestly, a lot of the 4 stars absolutely amazing. I tried to narrow it down, but don't think your 4 stars are bad. That is my opinion. Anyway, I think that's enough disclaimers. I'm going to shut up now. Thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.